So I'm always wondering, does anyone have a scariest page with a sketchbook? Because for me it's the first page. So today we are almost filling up my sketchbook and you can see it's almost full. There are a couple of other little pages not yet full, but we're going to do the first page. So let's just dive in. The first page is scary because we don't want to make a mistake. It's the first thing you open when you look into it. So I'm just going to have a bit of fun. And instead of trying to be, ooh, amazing, we're going to have fun. I said it already. I'm actually going to use a POSCA pen. It's quite a fine tip POSCA pen. And hopefully that will let us do some different stuff. And I'm going to come straight across that edge. And you see that really immediate kind of bold line we get from this POSCA pen. Quite a bit of fun. As I said, should I overuse the word fun? But it does mean we can just get straight into an interesting sketch. And this is a scene, just a photo I took whilst wandering around London a couple of weeks ago. Nothing special about it, I just thought it had some interesting perspective, interesting shapes, which of course always gets me a little bit happy and excited. And we're going to be a bit abstract if you can't tell already. So what I'm doing at the moment is kind of identifying shapes I like within the scene, splitting it over these two pages as well, and just allowing the pen to have a little wandering meander around at the same time. We'll come down and find the other edge here, and then we got this nice bit of perspective. We got this lamppost coming down, and it comes all the way down, gee, all the way off the page, why not? And we got another bit of perspective, Leyden Street here, or Leyden, kind of, I guess it's an office block, isn't it really? And then just a little bit of the vertical lines here. And down here we got, these are supposed to be the hanging baskets. And then we just got the front of the pub. And I think that's basically the scene captured, isn't it? I say basically scene captured. Of course, we can keep going. There's loads we can keep doing. But I want this to be a sort of minimalist on the it's already on the abstract side, but on the abstract side of things, hopefully a bit of a confidence booster to people out there who perhaps you don't want to always do something, you know, good, whatever good means. And sometimes good does mean something to us, and often good is a incidental thing which we wander along and we allow to worry about, or allow to worry us a lot, and we don't need to allow it to worry us. Hopefully, as we just build up some of these shapes, like even these little people, give them a little phone as well, we just build up a sort of sense of this place, using this lovely acrylic to make things a bit bolder in places, and we'll just gradually take this very abstract thing and give a little sense of something going on, which isn't entirely sort of mystical and weird. And that's what it's about, just being gentle, allowing things to build up rather than expecting them to be wonderful when you first start them. And what I can do here, look, if I use this, it's got a little bullet nib, which is really interesting. I've never seen a POSCA pen like it, and I haven't been able to locate it again. But it's got a little really good nib, which allows me to do actually surprisingly fine lines. So let's say I want to pop this sign in. Here comes a really surprisingly fine line, finer than some of my sort of supposedly medium fountain pens, for example. But it also lets me go boom and pop in a really bold line, which I think really valuable. We got lots of sort of cracks and crevices and details like that coming along here. I'm actually just going to make this a bit bolder as well, where we've got a bit of an edge. The same here, a bit of a bolder edge to just delineate our buildings as they come in. And especially this kind of dark edge. You can see I've got the perspective a bit wrong. I sort of suspected I might have done. Anyway, nothing ventured, nothing gained, and by allowing ourselves to work in phases, we can always correct it a bit. These lovely street signs on this weird pole. Such a tall pole with nothing on top of it. Not sure who designed that. Maybe it originally had something like this. It is London, maybe it's been stolen. Maybe there was something up there and it's been stolen. Anyway, I'm going to allow myself to count some windows for a little bit. Counting in the loosest sense of just recognising that there's 4 stories of window to capture. And then you can just kind of pretend we've done the rest. That's what sketching's about. Taking shortcuts and enjoying ourselves. Here we've got some submarine windows. Let's just go with it. Again, were you there? You don't know. Maybe I changed the photo and really they are submarine windows. That's my secret. I go everywhere in London in a submarine. Now, moving on, what else have we got to define our scene a bit more? We got this sort of curb line. And this all has quite a lot of structure now, which is pretty amazing if you think about where we started. But again, it's all about taking it step by step. What doesn't have structure is this edge coming around over here. We don't really get the idea yet of something overhanging either. Hopefully we can just start suggesting that. And we probably could just get a couple more kind of, the idea of pillars in here. And I'm not going to try and be anything but my normal weird self with my lines, but just a little sensible addition of boldness can just start to give even more structure. And I think now what we do have is a perspective street with an interesting pub coming down. Maybe we want to add in a couple more details. Just a couple more details here. To the bottom of that. Make this window dark. Once we've done that, we can make this window dark. And I've noticed I always squint when I'm doing shading. I think it's because there's like this natural thing where you're like, oh, if I squint it looks darker. I do find it makes my eyes ache though. So I'm trying to, you know, control that. I'm doing it again, trying to control the habit a little bit. In a sense, it's quite a good habit. It does help you pick out where we've got contrast and things, but it is a bit tedious having my eyes ache especially if I'm doing something for quite a while, or let's say I'm doing loads of shading and my eyes suddenly start hurting for the rest of the day. There you go, sketching bad for the health. I've moved on now a little bit just to like, I'm sort of identifying for you the textures or bits of those, well, darkness, I mentioned shading already a few times, bits of shading beyond just the boldest contrasts. You know, we've got this funny like balcony, for example, with a pretend man in it. We'll put in the pretend man as well, that's quite fun, isn't it? Same shapes, so this is the same shapes as these people down here. As long as we keep the shapes similar, they're connected and relatively easy for the eye, hopefully, to interpret. Hopefully a random viewer would be able to just about interpret that. Now we've got some interesting clouds and things. I'm going to kind of be really gentle and just do a bit of rather abstract renditions of the clouds. And what are clouds? They're kind of whiteness. We think of them as whiteness, but they're not white at all actually. They have a white edge and they're often very dark. So here, and if I squint, that squinting's coming back. They've got a sort of slightly warm shadow, at least warm compared to the very bright sky. And I just get the idea of a bit of tone in the sky, because that's what they're adding, a bit of tone. And if they're not adding tone because they're really white, well, they're taking tone away and they're making the rest of the sky appear toned. So a little bit of hatching is quite, I think, sue me, it's a fun, abstract way of popping in the colour. There you go. This is why I'm going a bit mad today. You can see my watch. It's just told me I've had a demanding day. So that's why it's good to relax. Just allow your mind to wander and jump around a little bit. Now, this sketchbook, I didn't introduce it properly. Really enjoying it. I'm going on my honeymoon soon. We're going to Japan, and I wanted to take a sketchbook with me, which I really enjoyed. And I remembered I used one of these Stillman and Birn Zeta series, or Zeta series. I used one of those a few years ago when I went to Greece. I was like, I think I really enjoyed that. So I basically grabbed one of these about 3 weeks ago and just decided I would fill it up. And I have really enjoyed it. Now the reason I mention this now is because I do enjoy it, but colours do act quite differently. So it's not watercolour paper, although it is very thick. It's 275 GSM, it's probably £130. So it responds well, but you can really see, hopefully, it's got a very different texture, and it's got a little bit of that sort of absorption property, which often we try and avoid. But because it's so heavyweight, I can put plenty of water on it. It does mean that I really need to be quick though. So these edges in my watercolours are probably already dry. So I need to just be wary of that. And look, this one already dry. I can't get rid of that edge very easily. And it's just something to be aware of, because it means we've got to be more cautious when we're placing the colour down, and also more cautious if we think we're going to be able to move it. We may not be able to move it. So we need to not scrub away at the page too much. It just gives a different feel. It's not bad or good. Well, okay. It's a bit bad, but it's not a disaster. And what I would say is I'm yet to find a sort of sketchbook without some kind of downside. Price, quality, even having the watercolour papers, often it's ring bound, so it can't lay it out and it's too clunky. So they've all got downsides. It's just about picking your poison. And here, actually, I quite like the effect. It's not as easy to use as my lovely cotton pads, sure. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't turn out quite fun anyway. So what I'm doing here is I'm picking up really watery colour. You can see I'm making sure it's really nice and watery. And I'm just finding the undertones in a few places. I'm going to leave all of this as white, maybe with some splashes. And here you go, look at that. That edge is already fixed. Just it dries so quickly, it's really absorbent. Not the end of the world, just can't do quite my normal ludicrous nonsense. I just have to think about it a little more carefully. Anyway, I was saying I'm going to leave this page. It feels like it's quite fun to kind of leave that page as white. Maybe I've got a little bit of red here. Maybe we just do some tiny little touches and some splashes. Let's incorporate the splashes now. And I like this concept. With a sketchbook, it's not perfect, but it's a sketchbook and it's fun. And I like the concept of showing it's a sketchbook, incorporating this line. It's a sketchbook with it's not a neat piece of paper. It's got a something in it. I just enjoy that idea of how can we accept our sketchbook for what it is. It's not an expensive piece of watercolour paper, and just play with it and go for it. And here we go. Right. Oh, I wanted to put something else in the sky, but I can't on this paper. It'll be too dry already. What I might get away with is just in these cloudy bits. There we go. At least I got to do something, and I can do some splashes. Oh, or I can't. Oh, there we go. Often tell people how easy it is to splash when you get used to it, and there you go. I lied. Now, here we can just bring in little bits of blue into the windows, and because it dries so quickly, I imagine I don't have to sort of formally tell you I'm moving on to the second stage where I start adding bolder colours. I think we can just fluidly do it. So here you go, I've moved cheekily onto our second stage, bold colours. And all I'm going to do here is just a couple more little touches. maybe something a bit brighter in a couple of places. Really struggling to get it brighter. I think it's because there's a little bit of green just contaminating there, neutralising my orangey red a little bit. Let's just move that a bit more, let it swirl and play. Then I want bright bold yellow. This is a Hansa Yellow Light, which I'm just experimenting with. I'm not entirely sold on it. It's just too, I think it's a tiny bit too light, doesn't quite hold its weight, but I'm also not unsold on it, if that can be a thing. I'm going to use the straight edge, just find a little suggestion of a road marking. Not entirely sold on that. Shouldn't have used the straight edge, but it's fine. I am still sticking forlornly with my rather giant brush. And I will change at some point, but I do think it's quite fun again, just to relinquish a little bit of that control by using something, you know, essentially stupid and inappropriate. Right, I've called it stupid and inappropriate. It won't forgive me. So I'm going to move to a really tiny brush. Here we go. Really tiny, size 2. And this is just going to be to pop down some more specific touches. Because we used that POSCA pen, and I might have used something else, I might have used a really bold ink pen. Because we used a POSCA pen, or any other bold pen, you'll notice that these lines are still really bold. So I may not need to add any more ink. In fact, I strongly suspect I won't. I also think the lines are actually more bold, probably for one other reason, which is that the POSCA pen is kind of, it's 3D. It lays some acrylic on the page, so it's unlike ink, which kind of absorbs into the page, stains the page. The acrylic is sitting on top, so it probably is just being a bit less covered by the watercolor. Technical, all that a bit technical. I know, all a bit technical. Too many technical terms, but I think there's probably some other reasons beyond just it being a bold line that the POSCA pen's kind of just sat there in front. Right, I can redo my little road marking now with this, and I might even bravely just consider making our people slightly colourful. I'm going to get some blue up on this man and down here. This is a bit thick, this paint, but it should be okay just in a couple of those places. Some better splashes. There you go, splashing is easy, I told you. It is a bit too thick for the windows, so I'll just come back with a bit more water and pop in a few little bits of blue in the windows. And maybe just allow them to meld and neutralise a bit with some of these other colours. To be honest, I also think this could neutralise down a bit. So I'm going to add a bit of orange into the blue. Classic bit of mixing on the page. I think a really lovely way to mix. And there we go. Anything else? Any more for any more? As I'm not sure who likes to say that, but as people often like to say, I'm claiming, even though I have no memory of who it is. Little bright bits of yellow. Maybe some yellow splashes down the front. And there you go. Anything else to do? Well, the key bit, as I often say, not always, but often, and I think it is key, is signing it. And there you go. You've been with me to witness the almost filling up of my sketchbook and how I cope emotionally with the challenge of a demanding day, just to create something fun. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know about your demanding day, and in return, perhaps, I'll let you know about mine. I'll see you in the next video.